Have you ever noticed that the moment a woman really desires you, her words and questions feel like a test? Like she's measuring something deeper than your wallet, your job, or even your looks? Most men miss this, and it costs them more than just missed opportunities. It costs their confidence, their sense of worth, and sometimes the connection they've been chasing for years. What I'm about to tell you is not obvious, and most men will completely misread it. But if you understand it, your dating life will never be the same. Women who are genuinely drawn to older men, men who have depth, presence, and life experience, don't just fall for charm or flashy gestures. They fall for the way a man navigates the subtle pressures of her tests. And here's the secret. The first thing she wants to see is how you handle your own emotions under scrutiny. Not your ego, not your bravado, but your inner stability. She will ask seemingly innocent questions, casual remarks that sound like curiosity, but they are actually probing for your emotional intelligence, your boundaries, and your value system. Most men hear the words, nod, and answer. But the women who are truly drawn to older men, they are watching the energy behind your answer. They are feeling whether your response is reactive, insecure, or measured. And here's the thing, your reaction is more revealing than your words. If you flinch at her curiosity, if you over-explain, if you seek her approval, she senses it instantly. And it lowers her desire because she knows she's dealing with a man who has yet to fully own himself. Desire in this context is built on presence, confidence, and the quiet knowledge that you are not shaken by casual testing. Now, there's a second layer most men completely ignore. The first question she asks tests your emotional stability. The second, often hidden, tests your ability to maintain value in her presence without needing validation. It can come as a compliment, a challenge, or even a joke that seems harmless on the surface. But psychologically, she's watching. Will you rise above, or will you slip into insecurity? Will you match her energy with calm control, or will you bend to her whims? And here's what most men don't realize. They unconsciously reveal their maturity through the tone, timing, and conviction of their answer. So here's the harsh truth. A woman's desire for a man isn't about superficial attraction. It's about proof. Proof that you can navigate the complex terrain of attention, attraction, and subtle tests without losing yourself. If you fail, she loses interest, not because she's shallow, but because she unconsciously perceives instability. But if you succeed, if you master these two invisible questions she's testing you with every interaction, you instantly differentiate yourself from 90% of men she encounters. Most men live their lives reacting, hoping, and guessing what women want. You, after hearing this, have a choice. You can stay in the cycle of uncertainty, or you can begin to decode female psychology in a way that gives you control, power, and undeniable attraction. Think about the last time a woman tested you without even saying it outright. What did you reveal about yourself in that moment? Be honest. That truth is the foundation for everything that comes next, and it's exactly what we're going to uncover in ways you've never seen before. Let's get brutally real. The first question she's testing isn't always asked outright, but it's always there. It's the silent probe that reveals whether you are a man who controls his own life or one who lets circumstances and emotions control him. She might phrase it casually, "How do you handle stress?" or "What do you do when things go wrong?" On the surface, it seems like a simple question, but it's far from it. She's watching your mindset, your calm under pressure, your ability to remain grounded. Here's what most men do. They complain, they justify, they over-explain, they unconsciously show anxiety, frustration, or insecurity. And that kills attraction faster than a man who doesn't show up for himself. She doesn't want someone who reacts. She wants someone who responds with mastery. That mastery comes not from arrogance, but from clarity. Clarity about who you are, what you stand for, and how you handle life without needing her to rescue you. The second question is even more subtle, even more powerful. She wants to see if you maintain your value without demanding hers. It can appear as a joke, a tease, or even a challenge disguised as curiosity. Do you always do that? Or are you really like that? These words are tiny weapons, designed to see if you crumble for attention or stand firm in your presence. Most men think a clever answer will win her over, but no. She's measuring your internal anchor. Do you sway with her moods? Or do you stay steady, calm, and composed, proving that your self-worth isn't negotiable? Here's where the psychology gets even more fascinating. Women who desire older men unconsciously test for self-containment because attraction is drawn to men who create security, not chaos. She doesn't just want a partner, she wants a man who can handle her energy without being drained. A man who matches emotional depth with confidence. And that's why these two invisible questions are so critical. They're not tests you pass with charm, humor, or flattery. They're tests you pass by being a man who has mastered himself. Understand this. When she poses these questions, she's not playing games. She's instinctively filtering out men who can't provide stability, security, and emotional leadership. And here's the brutal truth most men never see. Failing these tests doesn't just lose her interest. It brands you as average in her subconscious mind. Once that impression sets in, no amount of charm, money, or effort can recover it. But here's the good news. Most men fail because they don't see the test. If you understand these two questions, the first about emotional mastery, the second about value containment, you can respond in a way that ignites desire instead of shutting it down. And once you do, everything changes. Conversations, interactions, even casual moments start to feel magnetic. She doesn't just like you, she's drawn to you in a way she can't explain, because her subconscious knows you're different from every other man she's met. Ask yourself this right now. When was the last time you were truly tested like this? And how did you respond? The answer will reveal the gap between where you are and where you need to be. And that gap, that's exactly what we're about to close. Here's where most men completely miss the mark, and where the men who succeed stand out like kings. You now know the two invisible questions, one testing your emotional mastery, the other testing your value containment. The key to answering them isn't clever words or trying to impress, it's energy, presence, and conviction. When she probes your emotional stability, the first instinct for many men is to justify, defend, or rationalize. They spill their worries, overshare their anxieties, or try to make her feel better about their flaws. But here's the truth. Weakness is never attractive when it's uncontained. Women are drawn to men who can acknowledge struggle without letting it define them. A simple, confident response like, "I handle it by staying focused on solutions," or even a calm, measured story of overcoming challenges shows strength without arrogance. She feels it more than she hears it. She senses that you are a man who doesn't collapse under pressure. That feeling, my friend, is irresistible. Now, the second test, maintaining value in her presence, is even more delicate. Women want men who aren't constantly fishing for approval or validation. They want men who operate from a place of internal authority. So when she teases, challenges, or questions you, don't react with defensiveness. Don't bend or over-explain. Instead, anchor yourself. A firm, confident response like, "Yes, that's me," or a playful yet controlled counter shows her that your self-worth isn't negotiable. She doesn't just admire this. It triggers desire because she feels she's in the presence of someone rare, a man whose energy is stable, grounded, and magnetic. Here's the psychological twist. Women unconsciously equate emotional stability and value containment with security, leadership, and high status. You don't have to be wealthy or dominant in every area. Your presence alone communicates authority when you master these two questions. Think of it like a signal. She doesn't need to question if you can handle life. She already knows. That's how attraction transforms into genuine desire. But mastering this isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about self-awareness, emotional regulation, and consistency. Every interaction becomes a subtle dance. You reveal confidence, patience, and control in ways most men can't. She tests. You respond with composure. She pushes. You remain anchored. The more you do this, the more she feels drawn, intrigued, and ultimately invested in your presence. Let's make it personal. Think about the last time a woman challenged you. Maybe a small comment, a question, a playful tease. How did you respond? Did you crumble, over-explain, or seek her approval? Or did you stand firm, calm, and confident, letting her feel your stability? That single response, repeated over time, builds irresistible magnetism that women are wired to notice, consciously or not. And here's the final truth about desire. Women don't fall for men because of words. They fall for energy, presence, and proof of self-mastery. The men who understand and embody this are the men women truly desire. The rest? They remain invisible, always wondering why the women they want pass them by. But you, if you apply this consistently, will step into a space of power, respect, and unspoken attraction that most men never even dream of achieving. Now that you understand the invisible tests, the subtle questions, and how to respond with presence and value, it's time to see how this transforms everything in your dating life. Most men live in a reactive state. They chase attention, seek approval, and let women's moods dictate their own. But when you start answering these two questions correctly, when you maintain emotional mastery and value containment, everything changes instantly. You stop reacting, you start leading your interactions, you stop hoping she'll like you, she starts wanting to be around you. This isn't theory, it's practical psychology. Women are wired to seek men who provide stability, confidence, and proof of self-mastery. They subconsciously measure these qualities every day through tiny tests, subtle challenges, and casual questions. The moment you consistently show that you don't flinch, that you hold your energy and self-worth regardless of her words or moods, desire skyrockets. Attraction becomes effortless because it's built on respect, admiration, and the undeniable pull of a man who knows himself. But here's what separates temporary success from lasting influence. It's not just about individual interactions, it's about consistency over time. Every conversation, every text, every meeting is a moment to demonstrate your emotional stability and your unshakable value. The more consistent you are, the more automatic your magnetism becomes. She doesn't even have to think about it. Her mind and body respond instinctively. You're no longer chasing desire. Desire follows you, almost like gravity. And let me warn you, this path isn't for men who want quick tricks or short-term wins. It's for men who are ready to elevate themselves, to internalize these truths, and to operate from a higher level of self-mastery. Because here's the ultimate reality. Women aren't just drawn to your answers. They're drawn to your energy, your presence, and the way you carry yourself through life. Master these, and you step into a space of rare attraction that most men can't even comprehend. So here's what I want you to do right now. Reflect honestly on these two invisible questions. How do you respond under subtle testing? Are you reactive or composed? Do you bend for validation, or do you stand firm in your value? I want you to write your answer in the comments below, because that first step, awareness, is the moment change begins. And remember, desire isn't about charm, money, or luck. It's about emotional mastery, value containment, and consistent presence. Start practicing this today, and you'll see a transformation not just in your dating life, but in how women, and people in general, perceive and respect you. Here's a challenge for you. Take your age, subtract the number of serious relationships you've had, multiply that by the number of times you've reacted insecurely to a woman's test, and tell me the answer in the comments. Like this video if you learned something powerful, subscribe for more insights that most men will never hear, and share this with a friend who really needs to understand what women are testing without ever saying it. Because the truth, most men miss it, but you don't have to.